Welcome to The Industrialists, a show when we explore innovation in the industrial space. I am at the show floor of Microsoft Ignite with ChrisBurchett, who is leading Gen AI and product development at Blue Yonder.
That's right.
Chris, it's such a pleasure to have you here.
It's great to be with you, Adam.
So Chris, you do some really innovative things with supply chain, things that nobody else does. And you use AI to solve problems for your customers. I know a lot of those problems relate to the speed of reaction.
Right.
Tell me a little bit more about it. What does it really mean to use AI to accelerate decision-making with your customers?
Yeah, this is super important for us because our AI systems help customers respond to disruptions in the supply chain. You can imagine what happens if your supplier or one of their suppliers, a truck of inventory gets missing or delayed, and now you need to still get items on the shelf. And so what we do is we help customers respond to those systems failures, those systemic breakdowns in a dynamic way, in a very responsive way. And with agents, what we've done is increase the level of automation. So agents allow us to look upstream at the supply chain through our network, and we can see those disruptions happening, and the agent will decide what are the optimal options for you to consider to maybe either reroute the truck or to find an alternate supply or move inventory from one distribution center to another, and bring that right to the human's attention so that you have a simple choice and it speeds the decision-making process for supply chain disruption.
And how far does this network of data extend? Is it within the company itself? Does it extend into the suppliers? Like, how far does it really go?
That's a great question. It's not just single enterprise. It's upstream 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe more levels to suppliers and their suppliers, so that you can really see how those impacts are going to affect you over time. And it's not only supplier impacts, it's also things like tariffs. And so as tariffs have become an issue, you're all of a sudden needing to consider what alternative suppliers might I have that have different tariff impacts on my landed cost, right? And the availability of product.
So if you are an operator, you are a decision maker within the supply chain, now you have this new advice available to you.
That's right.
How do you act on it? Do you trust it? Do you trust the system?
That's a great question. So the way we think about these agents is that they follow what's called a SATA loop. They see, analyze, decide, and act. And they see by perceiving the APIs and events that come in from the system. They analyze what the options are, like I was describing before. Even that alone is super helpful for customers to understand what are my options and explain why some of these complex things are happening. But then they go further to enabling simulation of different options, and then recommending the best option. So at that point, you've got a rich, robust set of, part of the journey that you've gone through, and you're grounded in all of this information that you've seen along the way. And internally, what we're doing is we have guardrails, we have our own predictive ML, and our optimization technology that feeds the agent. And so it's not the agent trying to decide it, it's basically taking hard math and then interpreting it and shaping it for you and reasoning over it. So that's how we get to trust.
Who are your champions? Who are the customers that pushed it the farthest out?
Oh yeah, we have some great customers, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say all the names, but we have large retailer in the UK. And they're basically all in on our cognitive platform, is what we call it, cognitive solutions. And so, they're huge. We have a CPG manufacturer in the United States, several, many actually, that are all in on cognitive. And some of the early use cases for the retailer are around maybe category management or around planning. And for the CPG manufacturer, all around how do they manage their warehouse. In fact, one of the things that they brought to us is, hey, when the agent is giving me my daily brief about what's going on in my warehouse and recommending actions, I want you to inject freshness of the inventory, because I want to understand if things are getting near to the expiry date, I want to be moving that inventory sooner.
So the customers are now layering logic on top of the logic that you are providing.
That's right.
Okay, so there must have been something that they have done that you have not expected. What is it?
Yeah, what's really interesting is I had a semiconductor manufacturer, and they wanted me to help them with the explainability challenge. So when you do supply planning, you may have a mixed integer program that has literally millions of constraints and hundreds of objectives. And this is a big, dense math problem. And it runs for 30 hours and as a black box. And then at the end, it's like, okay, great, it solved all these orders, but why did these 2 orders not get solved? And asking that why question is very hard.
Yeah.
And so we set out to help them solve that problem, which we knew that was a challenge for them. But what was then interesting was then they brought 75 other requirements along. And so then it became like a pretty big, maybe this part is custom and that part is roadmap, So we had to kind of navigate.
So they're pushing your system.
They're definitely
way
pushing
out.
us. Yeah.
Okay, what about customers that are not as successful? Where do they get stuck?
Yeah, I think one of the challenges for any of these kinds of system is, and this is another challenge we're trying to solve with our end-to-end platform, is the data and the system of record for the data. Because there are certain classes of supply chain data for which there really isn't an external system of record. So that has to be maintained here. And then the integration, a lot of data comes from SAP, from Oracle, from other ERP systems. Yeah. And so that data integration tends to be a challenge, for some customers. And it really means that customers have to have their own data lake strategy, really, to funnel the data in, prep it, get it ready and cleansed, because obviously our solutions are only as good as the data. And one of the solutions we have does 25 billion machine learning predictions a day. And just to give you an idea what that is, how big is that number? It's about double what Google does search results for the world. And so every day we do that. And if the data isn't right, then the results won't be very good, right?
Fascinating. Is there a question that I didn't ask you that you are clearly seeing here that we should explore?
I think it's been a fantastic talk. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Well, then thank you so much. Thank you for being part of the show, part of the Industrialist, and for chatting with me. Thank you.
You bet.